If you are a practitioner who would like more cash pay clients, then I'm going to show you how symptoms plus science can easily equal sales. All right. There is one caveat to this that you absolutely must know. In order to use this process, you need to have the opportunity to offer prospects upfront labs. Okay. Now, if you're anyone from a health coach, a nutritionist who has some sort of certification, all the way up to your MD, PhDs, you all should have access to provide labs through what's called a signing physician, where these labs would not be on your license, ordered on your license, like they would as if someone already had an agreement to be a coaching client or a patient in your clinic, okay? But that these would be labs we'd be offering to prospects, okay? If you have questions about that, I want you to reach out to me. I want you to get the full scoop. You can go to leadwithlabs.com for a full training for more details. I just want to give you the basic idea of exactly how this works in this video, because a lot of you have been reaching out and sharing that, wow, like it feels harder than ever to build trust in the marketplace. And it feels like the buying cycle, right? Which is the time between when someone finds you or your content and when they end up investing in your offers, your services, whether that's one-on-one care, a health coaching package, or your program. A lot of you are sort of complaining it's harder to build trust, and that buying cycle is getting a little bit longer from the time they meet you to the time that they buy. And I would like to show you how to shorten that, okay? So I'm going to switch on over to my iPad here because I just want to draw this for you so that it's really easy for you to understand. If I had to sum up this entire concept, it's really how to create a lab test funnel to effectively attract cash pay clients. Okay, so I want your cash pay client acquisition to be easier. And by cash pay, I mean, I want them to be filtered, right? Because not everybody is willing to come cash out of pocket. Most people, a lot of people just want to stay in the insurance model, in the conventional medicine model. So if you're a health entrepreneur and you're operating outside that model, you need to know how to acquire these clients at scale in a way that doesn't exhaust you, in a way that is automated, and in a way that keeps you predictably full with clients. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this and show you exactly how it works so you have a basic understanding. Okay. Let's go ahead and move this over here. Okay, the goals that I want to achieve for my clients. So when I put this process on deck, it's for my clients who definitely still need to capture attention. And what I mean by that is you might not already have a huge email list, a huge following on social, okay? So this is for my clients who definitely need to be capturing more attention, okay? They also want to offer labs, okay? So this is only for my clients who have access to offering upfront labs through a signing physician. Again, reach out to me if you need more information about that. I'm assuming that you know how to do it, but I'm happy to help you, okay? And that have bandwidth to enroll more clients, okay? And what they definitely want to do is they want to be able to capture this attention, offer the labs, and enroll more clients, but they don't love selling, okay? So they want to be able to do all this in a process that I refer to as selling with soul, something that is easy. It's based on the science. It's not them. It's not these practitioners having to like shove their services down someone's throat or, feel like a salesperson. Okay. So if we can manage all three of these things, capturing attention, offering upfront labs, okay, capturing attention, offering upfront labs, and enrolling clients, that is what empowers my clients to sell with soul. Okay, so if that sounds like something that you want, let's go ahead and take a look at the areas of work that we would have to do together in order to create that result. Okay, I refer to the first area of work that you need to do as symptoms. Okay, what I need you to do is I need you to decide for yourself, okay, who am I going to serve? Okay, so I want to decide who is it that you can help. Okay, so who is your offer for? So we could, let me fit this in here for you. So like, who is suffering? Okay, who is your avatar? Who is the person that you want to help? Okay, so you need to be really clear and know how to speak to this specific audience that's suffering. Okay, that means you also need to know what they say. Okay, so in other words, we're not going to overwhelm them with medical jargon. We're actually going to talk to them about their symptoms in everyday kitchen table language, just like they would. Okay, and the next thing that you'll need to do is connect the dots for them so that they know, okay, which system of the body might be affected, right? Which system of the body might be troubled right now, such that they are experiencing these specific symptoms that the audience that you help is currently experiencing. Okay, so you need to know. Just a recap here, you'll have to be clear on who is it? Who is suffering that you want to help, okay? What is it that they say? How do they talk about their problems? No medical jargon, just how do they talk about it, okay? So for example, in the medical jargon, if someone is struggling with, let's say hormonal problems and they're younger and they might have irregular periods or a cessation of menses is how we might say it in the practitioner world. But we need to say, oh, my period is gone or the period is absent, right? So we want to make sure we're using language that is what they say, okay? And then you show up like the super smart genius that you are, you need to make it clear for them, okay, which system of the body needs attention here? Obviously, in that example, the hormonal system needs some attention, okay? Once you've made that clear, that is going to effectively start helping you capture attention. Okay, why is it going to help you over here with the capture attention piece? Because when they see this content in their feed, you're speaking directly to them. That's the who. Okay, you're talking about their symptoms in language that they use. That's what they say. And then you're connecting the dots for them. Hey, this system in the body might need a little bit of attention. Can you see how that could work as an effective way for you to get attention in a crowded market? Okay, the next thing that I want you to do is move over here towards being able to offer them more labs. Why do I want you to do that? Because it gives the people a VIP feel to like, oh, this person is giving me access to something that my doctor didn't give me access to that. They didn't even let me know that that was available, right? Because you guys have access to functional medicine labs, precision labs, a complete set of science that the conventional docs aren't even using right now. Okay, so you're going to give them that VIP feel. That's what's good for your prospects. What's good for you is you can add an education and resource fee. So now you're marketing this capturing attention here. When you add in offering labs, well, now you're also making money off that. Okay, in the form of your education and resource fee. Again, there's a whole training on this. You can go to leadwithlabs.com to watch it, or you can just DM me on Instagram and I'll just send it to you and get your questions answered. Okay, but let's make sure you understand exactly what's happening. Okay, so the next piece is getting you offering labs. Okay, now how do we go ahead and get people excited about this lab offer? Okay, well, we know that we need to make it clear for them, okay, when. Okay, when do labs matter? Okay, how bad do symptoms be? How long does this need to be going on? Are there other systems of the body that might collapse if we don't pay attention to what's happening to this particular system of the body? You need to make it clear to them that like, hey, what are the parameters in which people should be, concerned enough that they should take the leap and invest a small upfront fee in getting the labs? Okay, so that's when. Okay, when is it important that they go ahead and invest in labs? Okay, next thing that we need to know is they need to know how. Okay, how can you provide them access to labs? Okay, so how will they access the labs? Okay, and in Lab Test Funnel, I want you to send them to a very specific lab registration page, because if we send them over to our Avexia or our Rupa account or direct to a lab that you use, they're going to see a very clinical conversation, and we want them to see a very friendly customer-facing conversation talking about their symptoms in their language in a way that's very approachable, okay? Because we like the clinical descriptions of labs because we geek out on that stuff. That might intimidate them, and it might stop them from investing in the science that they need to see what's really going on. Okay. Now, because I don't want you taking a whole bunch of, consults or free calls with people who are not qualified. Okay. I also am going to have you create a video about what the data means. Okay. So in other words, because it's a prospect-facing lab, they're going to get a copy of the lab. You'll get a copy too, right? But they're going to get a copy of the lab. And what we want is a video of you explaining what do each of those indicators on that lab mean. This is the opportunity for you to show off a little bit, right? You get to show off your knowledge. You get to talk about, hey, here's what this indicator means, what this indicator means. When I have supported people and it was high, they tend to complain of this or that. And when it was low, they tended to describe this, so that people can start to get a sense of, oh, what test is this that I invested in? What do all these indications mean? What might that look like in real life? That protects you. It's like a barrier, like a filter, a wall. I think a filter is a better term. It's a filter that stops you from having to take free calls with everybody, and it just helps people understand what they're seeing, okay? And then we actually want to make the move. This right here is the science piece, okay? I forgot to write this in. And by science, I just mean we're actually give them access to the data that they need to drive smart decisions about their health. And what that means, this category right here of offering them access to the science, this takes you from someone who is currently collecting a list of freebie seekers, if you're giving away things like guides and checklists and having people opt in for that. If that's what you're doing, you're probably getting a lot of freebie seekers on your list. And when you instead offer them science in the form of a lab that they can have access to, well, now you stop attracting freebie seekers and you start attracting cash pay clients. Okay, because if they're willing to invest a little bit in an upfront lab, right, then that is filtering for people who are going to be willing to be a cash pay client when it comes to your 3-month package or your 5-month package or your online program, whatever it is that you're selling them. Okay, so that's why I want this to be a video here from you, because when it comes to explaining what the data means, I don't quite want you piling to review all the data with all these people, because I want to protect your time. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to move on to how do we go from talking to them about their symptoms to get attention, offering the science. So now we have incoming marketing that filters for freebie seekers, and it's making us some upfront money from the education and resource fee. How do we start the transition into sales? Okay, so that you have consistent, predictable, abundant income coming in to your health business. Okay, well, here's what we need to do next. Okay, what we need to do next is we need to make it clear, okay, who needs a consult? Okay, so at the end of this video right here that we just talked about, you're going to say, hey, if you're looking at your results and you're a little overwhelmed, or if you see something on the results that make you suspect this system of the body needs attention, then click the video below this button and you can, and we'll review your results together. And then you have the option of go ahead and charge for that call, which will help your show up rate. You don't want a bunch of no-shows, right? And then on that call, you need to know exactly, and this is our next piece here, you need to know exactly when to address the labs. Okay, when do you actually review the labs? Okay, because there is a specific order to navigate that call that will help you use the labs at just the right moment to make it easy for them to decide which offer is best. Okay, and what I love about this is the lab test tends to change this conversation from, am I going to invest in working with you or not, to which way am I going to invest in working with you? Okay, so depending on what you offer, that might be, hey, they decide they're going to pay for a high-end private one-on-one package with you to resolve this problem over the next 12 weeks. It might mean that they decide, oh, okay, I don't want that 5K 3-month package. Maybe you have a $1,500 12-week group program where people have live access to you. Maybe you have a DIY self-study course. It's like $500 or something, right? So they can decide which way is the most cost-effective way of working with you, given how much one-on-one time they want, how much they can afford. I like all of my practitioners in my mastermind to have those 3 tiers: high-end one-on-one, live rolling evergreen group programs, and a DIY self-study. Okay, then it becomes a question not of whether or not they're going to work with you, but of which way they're going to work with you, okay? Which makes your conversion on the back end much more highly profitable, okay? It also means there's not so much pushing, because the labs themselves, the lab results, when you have this conversation that they're looking at the labs together, it makes the decision much easier for them because they've seen your expertise, they've heard you talk about this, they've seen you connect the dots between the symptoms they're experiencing and what is showing up on that lab test. Now you are the obvious choice with whom to solve those problems. It just becomes a question of which offer. Okay, it just becomes a question of which way do they want to work with you? High-end, one-on-one, okay, your live group program, or a self-study option, or maybe they just want to start with some very small, like a supplement bundle that you might recommend for them. But either way, okay, you've taken a conversation about their symptoms plus the science available through precision medicine and precision functional medicine labs, okay, all the advanced science you can give them access to now. And you have turned that into a much more effective sales conversation. And in the process, I think it's important to realize that you've also completely shifted your health business model from being a business who attracts a bunch of freebie seekers by offering guides and checklists and that sort of thing to a business that is filtering for people who are willing to pay at least a small amount upfront in an upfront lab. So they are self-filtering and showing you these are prospects that are worth pursuing, that are worth having automated follow-up sequences built to communicate with them, that are worth following up with on social media channels because they have shown themselves to be willing to come cash out of pocket to aggressively move their, solution finding forward and actually put the health troubles that they're experiencing in the rear view mirror faster with your help. All right. If you would like a leg up to getting this done, I want you to reach out to me. Okay. I want to make sure that you have access to me over on Instagram. So let me make sure I'll just put on screen here really quickly so you can see this. Okay. If you would like a complete training on this, I'll put it in the description in the link below. I want you to make sure that you have access to that so you can use the description below. But I also want you to make sure you have access to me. Like if you have questions about this, follow me, DM me, let's chat. Let's see if your health business is ripe and ready to bring in more cash pay clients by having conversations about symptoms plus access to the science available through precision and functional medicine labs so that can equal a ton more sale of cash pay clients into the offers that are best suited from what you have to offer your patients, your program participants, and your DIY self-study course participants. All right. If you have any questions, please reach out to me because you're here. Thank you for all you do. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. We'll reach out and get you the answers that you need. Take care.